gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Christy Diaz. We begin with breaking news. 6 people shot at a club overnight, and this morning Atlanta police are combing the scene in Buckhead where 2 of those 6 people were killed. This happened in Buckhead along a busy stretch of Peachtree Road Northwest at 1145 Lounge early this morning. If you are familiar with Atlanta, this is right at the base of Cardiac Hill, down the street from Piedmont Atlanta Hospital. Our Erica Murphy is live from the scene for us. Erica, what have you learned about what happened inside this club?
Christy, this is really sad. Today we have got several families and friends who are out here waiting at the scene. I'm here at Peachtree Road right here in Buckhead in front of Club 1145 Lounge, where a shooting took place early this morning, leaving 2 people dead.
Wow. And that is pretty much a sum of how the year has been going in Atlanta, specifically Buckhead. There was a provision to separate the city from Buckhead from Atlanta, and it unfortunately did not pass. But as a former resident of Buckhead, I would have liked to seen that happen, and if it did, I probably would still be living or you know, renting in Buckhead. So you know, it's just crazy what has gone on over the past, you know, few years. And this is just another example of a mass shooting. And unfortunately, black men being at the center of it. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Now, police say that this all happened because of a fight. According to Atlanta police, this all happened early this morning around 2:30 when a scuffle broke out inside the club. In all, 6 people were shot. Police are saying that they think it's one shooter, and that person is still out there.
2 officers responded to Club 1145 on a person shot. Upon their arrival, there were 6 individuals shot, 2 deceased on scene inside the club. The other 4 individuals are at local hospitals, and they are expected to survive. There was a dispute inside the club, a physical altercation that erupted in gunfire.
Wow. So basically a ninja moment.
And Christy, I'm going to just step aside here so that you can see that there are still quite a few people that are posted out here. We're hearing that the medical examiner is talking to some of them to try to help to identify the victims in this case. We also do know that the shooter, like I said, is still out there. Reporting from Buckhead, Erica Murphy, 11 Alive News.
All right, Erica, we have been following this since before 3 o'clock this morning. We'll see you at 9:30 for any updates.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Joe Ripley. Nearly 24 hours later, Atlanta police still have not announced an arrest in a deadly Mother's Day shooting. It happened at a nightclub. This all happening in Buckhead along a busy stretch of Peachtree Road Northwest at 1145 Lounge. That happened early this morning. If you're familiar with Atlanta, this is right at the base of Cardiac Hill. 11 Alive's Teresa Bowles has been following the story all night for us. Teresa, how's Atlanta's night scene responded to this violence?
And, you know, just the realities of the situation. If you're going clubbing, you want to target a more upscale club that has a dress code and all these things. You know, back in the day, we would be going clubbing, you would think, oh man, that's racist. They don't let Jordans in. But the reality is the ninjas coming in with Jordans are the main ones who are trying to start problems, unfortunately. And you know, it's not just the shoe, it's just the vibe that is brought when you have somebody who gets bounced out of the club or they're fighting in the club and the fight leaks outside. it's gang activity, it's street stuff, and then obviously, you know, no suspects. Street code is in full effect. So you have a mass shooter out there who is going to come out next weekend and try and do the same thing.
Well, Joe, here on Peachtree Road, it's not nearly as busy as it was early this morning, but those who frequent this area are sounding off on social media, some even calling for this to be the end of Lounge 1145.
Wow.
An empty parking lot on...
So they're going to blame the club when it's these ninjas acting up. Ridiculous. Buckhead used to be the hub for fun, adult fun, obviously, you know, and you were relatively safe, but now it's unrecognizable.
Mother's Day, because 1145 had to close its doors. There's not much to celebrate. 2 mothers lost their children there early Sunday morning. The Night Lounge released a statement on Instagram but turned off their comments. However, it isn't stopping Atlanta's night scene from chiming in anyway. One user says, quote, "Man, shut that weak club down. Nightlife in ATL has been dead." Atlanta Police Homicide Commander Andrew Smith said the shooting killed a man and a woman, and 4 others are recovering at the hospital.
There was a dispute inside the club, a physical altercation that erupted in gunfire.
Since people learned about the deadly shooting, Instagram users have been asking the same questions, one saying, quote, "How did the guns make it inside?" In a statement, the lounge says in part, quote, "In these challenging times, our commitment to the security and safety of our community has only strengthened. I also spoke to a security guard off camera who says he was working there that night. He tells me he's traumatized and done with security work."
To speak to club procedures and letting individuals in with a gun, that'll be a part of our investigation.
However, Smith wouldn't speak on a history of violence at the club, but a look over APD's crime index shows there was an aggravated assault back in November. The last time 11 Alive covered violence was a shooting back in 2020. That same year, this petition popped up calling for 1145 to be shut down.
Which, you know, obviously it just doesn't make sense, because you're punishing the business for things that are going on outside of the club. And yes, if you're running a club, it's a tough business and they're doing a lot of things and there's a lot of moving parts. Now, if they were negligent in any way, then, you know, maybe you have a case, but I'm not in the business of punishing a business because something bad happened at that business, especially if they, you know, were able to prevent said event happening inside of the club. Now, the fact that it happened outside of the club is like, how can you control that? Somebody just, you know, gets to fighting outside of your club, and you only can control a certain amount of territory as a bouncer, as security. So it is what it is.
Most of the businesses surrounding 1145 were closed Sunday, but entrepreneurs in the lounge's plaza disagree. A representative with Taranga City Lounge and the owner of a nearby salon tell me off camera they have no fears for their businesses. However, some employees and patrons feel differently. Though in a statement, an APD spokesperson says that this shooting appears between people who knew each other, some sort of dispute at the club. This is all preliminary and could change as the investigation unfolds. Live in Atlanta, Teresa Bowles, 11 Alive News.
All right, Teresa, thank you for that live report tonight.
A sad Mother's Day for several Atlanta families after 6 people were shot, 2 of them killed at a nightclub in Buckhead. Atlanta News First reporter Joshua Skinner has more on the shooting and Atlanta's nightclub violence.
Residents and workers say this area of South Buckhead on Peachtree Street, where 6 people were shot early this morning, has been a problem area for a while, one that some people think is indicative of a larger problem for the city of Atlanta. 6 people shot, 2 killed in Buckhead on Mother's Day.
Bennett Street was just this incredible, artistic, hopping, exciting place, and that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And it's
woke policies, woke politicians, woke DAs, and, you know, DEI hires, and now the city is in turmoil. Point blank. That's where we are right now. And unfortunately, Atlanta is one of the fallen cities that we have been talking about on this channel.
Unfortunate.
Amy Brown Edelstein's husband, Bruce, owns a dental practice just blocks away. He's seen the area change.
It just seems like it's getting worse. You know, as time goes on, it's definitely not getting better. So something really needs to be done.
Atlanta police say the incident happened around 2:30 a.m. inside the 1145 lounge off Peachtree Street. Sunday evening, police identified the two people killed as Nykris Ridley and Mari Creighton.
Club procedures and letting individuals in with a gun, that'll be a part of our investigation right now, but we are in the preliminary stages.
Aaliyah Strong runs the nonprofit Time to Thrive Beyond Grief, which provides resources for families affected by gun violence. She lost her fiance to a nightclub shooting 2 years ago.
No, I wouldn't let my child go out. I mean, obviously, you know, people, we're young, you want to go out, you want to have fun, but if you lived in Atlanta, like probably 10 years ago, it was nothing how it is now.
Change.org petition was created in 2020.
And I mean, don't let them fool you. Ninjas was still getting clapped, but it was in certain areas like College Park, Riverdale, Bankhead, not Buckhead, but Bankhead, obviously Cleveland Road, Cleveland, East Point, all these areas. It was on the outskirts, but now it's getting into the heart of the city and pretty much making the city completely unlivable.
Attempting to shut down 1145, citing crime and safety at and surrounding the club. 4 years later, Strong questions what, if anything, has changed.
Are we just gonna keep letting people get killed, just trying to go out and have a good time, or are we actually gonna do something about it?
And what are you gonna do? You're still going to support the same people who are promoting the violence. You're still gonna be gang and deal with Thug Max Alpha Sim. So if you ain't doing nothing, we ain't doing nothing as a business. So I mean, it just makes no sense. They want them to shut down the business because y'all ninjas don't know how to act. These super gremlins are on demon time.
And as of now, police have made no arrests. An 1145 Lounge announced on social media earlier this evening they will not be opening tonight. Reporting in South Buckhead, Joshua Skinner, Atlanta News First.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Joe Ripley. Nearly 24 hours later, Atlanta police still have not announced an arrest in a deadly Mother's Day shooting that happened at a nightclub. This all happening in Buckhead along a busy stretch of Peachtree Road Northwest at 1145 Lounge that happened early this morning. If you're familiar with Atlanta, this is right at the base of Cardiac Hill. 11 Alive's Teresa Bowles has been following the story all night for us. Teresa, how's Atlanta's night scene responded to this violence?
Well, Joe, here on Peachtree Road, it's not nearly as busy as it was early this morning, but those who frequent this area are sounding off on social media, some even calling for this to be the end of Lounge 1145. An empty parking lot on Mother's Day because 1145 had to close its doors. There's not much to celebrate. Two mothers lost their children there early Sunday morning. The Night Lounge released a statement on Instagram but turned off their comments. However, it isn't stopping Atlanta's night scene from chiming in anyway. One user says, quote, "Man, shut that weak club down. Nightlife in ATL has been dead." Atlanta Police Homicide Commander Andrew Smith said,
and that's the attitude. Joe, just shut it down. Man, look, bro. The community, I don't get it. I don't get it.
The shooting killed a man and a woman, and 4 others are recovering at the hospital.
There was a dispute inside the club, a physical altercation that erupted in gunfire.
Since people learned about the deadly shooting, Instagram users have been asking the same questions, one saying, quote, "How did the guns make it inside?" In a statement, the lounge says in part, quote, "In these challenging times, our commitment to the security and safety of our community has only strengthened. I also spoke to a security guard off camera who says he was working there that night. He tells me he's traumatized and done with security work."
To speak to club procedures and letting individuals in with a gun. That'll be a part of our investigation.
However, Smith wouldn't speak on a history of violence at the club, but a look over APD's crime index shows there was an aggravated assault back in November. The last time 11 Alive covered violence was a shooting back in 2020. That same year, this petition popped up calling for 1145 to be shut down. Most of the businesses surrounding 1145 were closed Sunday, but entrepreneurs in the lounge's plaza disagree. A representative with Taranga City Lounge and the owner of a nearby salon tell me off camera they have no fears for their businesses. However, some employees and patrons feel differently.
Though in a statement, an APD spokesperson says that this shooting appears between people who knew each other, some sort of dispute at the club. This is all preliminary and could change as the investigation unfolds. Live in Atlanta, Teresa Bowles, 11 Alive News.
All right, Teresa, thank you for that live report tonight.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
With that deadly shooting outside of a popular nightclub overnight, 2 people are dead and 4 others are recovering. Atlanta police say a fight inside the 1145 lounge led to that deadly shooting just after 2 a.m. News Edge reporter Joy Dukes is live with more at the scene. Joy, you're right there. Police lights are gone, but still a very active investigation.
Yeah, absolutely, Tyler, and this was certainly a tragedy. Well, this part of Buckhead is known for a lot of different nightlife spots in this area, 1145 being one of them. Well, officials took to social media saying that the club is closed today, where they're typically open on Sundays, as they are cooperating with police in the investigation into this deadly shooting here. Meanwhile, some patrons of this club here and people who frequent this club say that this incident has left them with a lot of concerns about safety in Atlanta's nightlife scene. Every time I go out, I pray. The sounds of laughter, enjoyment, and music blaring inside 1145 Lounge on Peachtree Road turned into screams early Sunday morning as clubgoers fled at the sound of gunfire. Atlanta police say a fight inside the club led to a deadly shooting that injured 6 people between the ages of 20 and 30. 1 man and 1 woman were killed.
There were 6 individuals shot, 2 deceased on scene inside the club.
Nikki B says as a mother on Mother's Day, she was heartbroken to hear what happened at the club she's visited many times.
It's really sad. And I really send my condolences to the families that this happened to.
Bash Sepulveda wasn't there, but says it's a place he frequents for a night out on the town. He believes it's part of a larger issue within the city's nightlife scene.
It's kind of crazy how it's starting to become a norm that every club we go to is a shooting.
Yeah. I've been covering this for the longest, and you know, I'm the self-hater, but I mean, I don't have to say anything. I just sit back, I let them say it, I give my commentary. I say, you know, the communitas should refrain from large gatherings for a long time. The street code is in full effect. There is no suspect. When you have 2 people killed, including a black female who was about to become a college graduate, and that black men unfortunately have become the face of mass shootings in the US, and it's just not it's not covered by the mainstream media. So another tally for the mass shootings under the Communitas belt, and until we take group accountability, until we take group acknowledgement first and then group accountability, then we're not going to see an end to this.
An Atlanta police spokesperson called the incident disturbing. While they're still in the early stages of the investigation, they say they'll conduct a review of surveillance and security protocols at the lounge.
Our concern, but again, to speak to club procedures and letting individuals in with a gun. That'll be a part of our investigation.
A statement posted to 1145's social media reads in part, quote, "Our hearts go out to all those impacted, and we extend our deepest sympathies to the individuals and families who have suffered any loss. The safety and well-being of our patrons and staff have always been our paramount concern. In these challenging times, our commitment to the security and safety of our community has only strengthened." There's still a lot of questions here tonight. We are told, however, that the 4 victims that were injured are expected to be okay. Police have not released any of their identities at this time, but they did tell us that, again, those people are expected to make a full recovery, the 4 that were admitted to the hospital. There's no word on the suspected shooter at this time. We've reached out to APD for some updates on that. We're still waiting to hear back. We also don't know if or when the club is expected to reopen. That's the latest here live in Buckhead tonight. Joy Dukes, Fox 5 News.
Now, as 6 investigators are working to track down the person who shot 6 people, killing 2 of them inside a Buckhead nightclub early Sunday morning.
Atlanta News First Asia Wilson is live this morning. She's at the 1145 Lounge on Peachtree Road Northwest. Asia, that shooter still has not been identified.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We still don't have a description or know who police are looking for. At last check, Atlanta police told us they have to look at surveillance video from inside to help with possible leads. Now, meanwhile, I was out here all yesterday morning. I spoke with loved ones and business owners in this area. So many people are devastated about what happened here. Now, investigators say someone shot and killed 20-year-old Nykris Ridley and 21-year-old Mara Creighton. 4 others were shot, but are expected to survive. Now, Atlanta police say all of this happened around 2:30 Sunday morning inside 1145 Lounge. And this shooting has left so many people on edge, some saying they are tired of crimes happening here and in this area. In fact, we found a change.org petition that was created in 2020 attempting to shut down 1145, citing crime and safety at and surrounding the club. I spoke with a dentist who owns a practice down the road, and he says something has to change.
It's not good that there's a club here and that the criminal element is attracted to this area, or any area for that matter. It seems like it's getting worse. You know, as time goes on, it's definitely not getting better. So something.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't necessarily think it's the club's fault. I don't. Okay? Like, why does it have to be the club's fault? It doesn't make sense. It's just like, why can't we blame the individuals who are actually committing the crimes? Right? And, you know, maybe the club needs to do more work on who they're letting in and clearing the space in front of the club, but I just think that, you know, the emboldenedness of criminals is everywhere. It's not just at the club. Now, but we do know that, you know, bad things happen late at night in these arenas, especially when it is heavily populated with a community. Let's just keep it a buck.
Something really needs to be done.
Now, meanwhile, 1145 Lounge is saying they are dedicated to maintaining a safe environment for everyone. Just yesterday, they released a statement which says in part, we at 1145 are profoundly affected by the tragic events. Our hearts go out to all those impacted, and we extend our deepest sympathies to the individuals and families who have suffered loss and injury. It goes on to say the safety and well-being of our patrons and staff have always been paramount concern. They added, in these challenging times, our commitment to security and safety of our community has only strengthened. Now, again, no arrest has been made. We are hoping to learn more about the victims in this entire case. We're live this morning in Buckhead. Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to 11 Alive News at 4 o'clock. I'm Faith Jesse.
And I'm Jonathan Martin. Within the last hour, we have been learning more about a shooting at a club in Buckhead. The shooting at the 1145 Lounge killed 21-year-old Mari Creighton and 20-year-old Nykris Ridley. Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum telling us one shooter was involved and targeted someone inside. 4 other people were hit by the gunfire, and the police chief also says they are all still recovering in the hospital tonight. 11 Alive's Molly Oak spoke with one of the victim's best friends today and has more on what led to her untimely death.
Calls and texts. That's what Muhammad Guy said he woke up to on Sunday. He quickly learned one of his best friends, 21-year-old Mari Creighton, died in a shooting at 1145 Lounge in Buckhead around 2:35 a.m. on Sunday. Creighton was a rising senior and volleyball player at Albany State University. 20-year-old Nykris Ridley also died in that shooting. 4 other people were injured. Atlanta police say all the victims were in their 20s and 30s.
I can't even wrap my head around this. Like, you wake up being told that you have another friend that's been murdered. And it's like a continuous cycle.
He says he wants justice for Mari. Tonight at 6, how he hopes his best friend is remembered. Reporting in Atlanta, Molly Oak, 11 Alive News.
This morning we have learned an Albany State volleyball player was one of the 2 people shot and killed at the 1145 Lounge in Buckhead Mother's Day morning. 11 Alive's Ariana Maniz joins us now live outside the club. Ariana, this morning police are still searching for that shooter and the club is closed.
That's right. The club was supposed to be open last night for an AUC Senior Week party, but that party was canceled. The club was closed just days after this lounge became a crime scene where 2 people lost their life and 4 other people were shot. We spoke to one of the victims' best friend who remembers her for her bright soul.
I don't know how I'd be able to cope with this pain, honestly, because she didn't deserve this. She did.
21-year-old Mari Creighton was one of Muhammad Guy's best friends. She was a rising senior and volleyball player at Albany State, and sadly, one of the people killed in an early morning shooting at 1145 Lounge in Buckhead on.
So, I mean, another sister taken out, no protests, nobody, coming out and declaring these mass shootings as something that needs to be heavily investigated and the perpetrators need to be sought out and captured. It's radio silence. I didn't hear about this story. I had to search for this story. And I'm in Atlanta. These super gremlins are on demon time.
One of the people killed in an early morning shooting at 1145 Lounge in Buckhead on Sunday.
She was such a bright soul. Like, she's always ready to laugh, to go out, have fun, make other people laugh. So
Muhammad says he's holding on to hope that they find whoever carelessly took Mari's life, a person he says was more like his little sister.
Everybody know when Mari hugs you, Mari's gonna squeeze. Like she's gonna hug you. So I'm just like, dang, I'm gonna miss those hugs for real, for real.
Atlanta police have not made any arrests.
Was one shooter inside that establishment.
Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum appeared before City Council on Monday, where he provided more details about the shooting. He says the shooting started with the physical altercation, and the shooter was targeting another person inside the club.
And that one shooter intended to cause one other person harm inside. And in doing so, that weapon was discharged.
Police say the suspected shooter shot and killed the person they were targeting and shot 5 other victims. And while the 4 other people are recovering at the hospital, Shearbaum says his officers will continue to investigate so they can hold someone accountable.
And that is the priority of this department, that if you're going to use guns to harm people, that you will be held responsible. We will put you before a court.
Atlanta police say.
But the question is the court going to hold them responsible and hold them, in captivity? Because I guarantee these guys were probably released on an OR bond or something like that, and most likely had prior charges.
They're reviewing video from inside the club to pinpoint exactly who opened fire here at this nightclub. They're also interviewing those who survived the shooting. Reporting live from Buckhead, I'm Ariana Maniz for 11 Alive. Back to you.
Ariana, thank you. As new information keeps coming in about this story, we are updating it on 11alive.com. You'll find it on our homepage.
Missed calls and texts filled Muhammad Guy's phone screen with news that left him feeling empty.
This one really hurts. This one really, really hurts.
One of his best friends, 21-year-old Mari Creighton, a rising senior and volleyball player at Albany State, was one of the people killed in an early morning shooting at 1145 Lounge in Buckhead on Sunday.
I don't know how I'd be able to cope with this pain, honestly, because she didn't deserve this. She did.
It's a pain Muhammad says he knows far too well, as he also lost one of his best childhood friends earlier this month.
I just came from his candlelight 2 days prior, Now I gotta find out that one of my closest friends from school has been killed too. Like, I'm just tired of this, honestly. Like, I can't.
Muhammad is holding on to hope that they find whoever did this to his best friend that he says was more like a little sister.
Yeah, and you know, it's not many people in the community speaking up about these shootings. These shootings are going unnoticed, guys. This is what you guys have to understand. Not many people are hearing about them. So when we expose it, it's jarring, it's shocking to people. They damn near don't believe it. But it's impossible not to believe because all the records are backing it. You know, so it's just another event in the community that shouldn't have happened. These super gremlins are on demon time.
She's such a bright soul. Like, she's always ready to laugh, to go out, have fun, make other people laugh. So just to know that somebody carelessly took her life, that really put me in like a bad state. So my heart, my prayers, my thoughts goes out to her family, to the Albany State University volleyball program, to all her close friends.
And hoping he can hold on to Mari's mom through this.
To lose your child on Mother's Day, that has to be the saddest thing ever.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the pain and the trauma that she's going through. Like, if I can just see her right now, just give her like the biggest hug in the world, just cry with her.
A hug, just like Mari used to give him.
Everybody know when Mari hugs you, Mari's squeezed. Like, she's gonna hug you. So I'm just like, dang, I'm gonna miss those hugs for real, for real.
In Atlanta, Molly Oak, 11 Alive News.
Gang violence and other kind